Morning, I'm Bernard Hickey and welcome to my daily chorus. This is the podcast and video that I do for my email newsletter that goes out as the Kaka via Substack. It's all about Aotearoa's political economy around housing, climate and poverty. Today, the big news, of course, is that Jim Bolger, the former National Prime Minister from 1990 to 1996, died overnight at the age of 90 after being treated with dialysis for kidney failure. I met Mr. Bolger several times and had quite a few long conversations with him in the last 4 or 5 years. I also covered Mr. Bolger when he was Prime Minister from 1992 to 1993, when I first became a reporter working for Reuters in Wellington. And I went to the press conference in 1993, immediately after the 1993 election, when National, at the end of its first term, almost lost the election in a bit of a shock. In that press conference, he sacked Ruth Richardson. In my view, this was his most consequential action as a Prime Minister, and it gave a sense of who he was as a Conservative and also someone who distrusted extremism. And over the years, I think many people have come to know and like Jim Bolger a little better, in part because he wasn't afraid to change his mind when the facts changed and when it became clear to him that something wasn't working. He was also clearly someone who was in favour of the Treaty of Waitangi. And when he was Prime Minister, he helped Doug Graham, as then Justice Minister, and who became the first Treaty Settlements Minister, to pursue significant treaty settlements and to protect them. He's notable in that I think he's quite different from the current National Prime Minister and also the previous National Prime Ministers of John Key and Bill English, both of whom I would describe as centrists who are able to contain and push back on extremists, either in their parties or in coalition. Now, obviously, Jim Bolger was Prime Minister in the final years of First Past the Post, and his government presided over the move towards MMP. And the third term of National, in which Jim Bolger was no longer the Prime Minister, was the first to have a MMP government. And I think he'll be remembered as a decent man, a Conservative, and a National Party Prime Minister who was able to push back at the extremists in his party. Elsewhere in the news today, we have a couple of polls which give us a sense of where the national government is at the moment in the minds of the public and how the public would like to see things change. The Post poll with Freshwater asked people whether they wanted National to replace Christopher Luxon as leader. 49% said they did, and 16% said they'd prefer Chris Bishop as the replacement. Also another poll from Talbot Mills and an actor found National down 2 percentage points to under 30. So that's the second poll under 30, and now 6 points behind Labor on 35%. And also it's worth mentioning today that John Key, the former National Prime Minister, and the Infrastructure New Zealand CEO, Nick Leggett, have backed proposals for a bed tax. Again, this is part of the problem we have with funding of infrastructure, where councils don't have the funding sources. The government chooses not to use its balance sheet, and infrastructure doesn't get built anytime soon. There's Jim Bolger in his later years, and we pay tribute to him today. There's the poll that shows that we certainly have some alternatives to Nicola